everybody, how's it going? Mario here. Guys, I've been having to make this video quite a few times. The reason why is it's really hard for me to talk about the subject, but as you guys know, I make the PTSD Combat Veteran Series. I made that for you guys to kind of understand what a lot of combat veterans have to deal with on an everyday basis. For you guys, for the loved ones who watch, and also for my fellow veterans who watch it. Um, as you guys know, I use this as a way not only for therapy for myself, but also to help a lot of our fellow veterans. So today, guys, we're going to talk about survivor guilt. And I think pretty much everybody who's ever deployed, who's ever lost a dear friend, a brother, or in some cases a sister, can really relate with what I'm about to talk about. Um, I lost my good friend here, um, Daniel Unger. I lost him on May 25th, 2004. And to make a long story short, I was the last person to talk to him. And it really bothered me. It bothered me because, you stop and think about what you'd have done differently. What could you had improved to, maybe save that person's life. But to make a long story short, it's something I've dealt with pretty much all my life ever since May 25th, 2004. Um, and it's something that I continue to struggle with on an everyday basis. April and May are very tough months for me, very tough for just dealing with the everyday aspects of life. I have a tendency of just being distant and just being away from people. And in reality, it's nothing against anybody. It's just my way, my coping mechanism that I use um, to obviously not do anything or hurt anybody. Because you got to stop and think about it. Those months, what I would consider months of mourning, I'm pretty much on edge, and I have a tendency of just going off on people for stupid shit. So instead of me, um, you know, um, being this person that's not going to be very good to talk to or whatever the case may be, I try to stay away from people, and I try to minimize my social aspects during these months. Um, so what happened, guys, is that I was in a very small forward observation base in Iraq, and I lost my friend uh, during a mortar attack. So if you guys don't know what a mortar is a projectile that's shot from a tube, and it has a charge, right? And the charge projects this projectile to go a certain distance, right? But when it lands, the projectile explodes and it has a bunch of shrapnel, and it's very devastating if anybody's near. Definitely could kill you, and unfortunately, it killed my brother Daniel. He was actually sheltering some Iraqi contractors that he was escorting, and it didn't look it didn't look like he got hit, when this first happened. But when we got close to him, we could see that there was a small puncture wound on the side. So to make a long story short, there was a piece of shrapnel that went across his body. And this is before we had like the side plates on our plate carriers and our vest. And unfortunately, I lost him. The next day, we went. I was part of what they call the QRF, or the Quick Reaction Force, and of course, my main focus was just to get these sons of bitches that shot at us, because that day was very devastating. They actually shot at us with the 100 millimeter Chinese mortars, and these things did some serious damage. They did damage to the fob. We had these small little tents where some of the command teams were in there. I'll put pictures of that stuff now. And as you guys can see, we lived in a very remote area of Iraq. It was, you know, very dusty. It was always hot, very hot, guys. You know, and if you notice on a lot of the pictures that I show there, we had sandbags all around our tents, and that is just if for some reason mortars landed near your tent area, that the sandbags would take the hit from the mortar blast and stuff like that. We had a tendency of getting attacked a lot. You know, whether it was inside the base or when we go outside the base, we used to get in firefights all the time. So it was very difficult for a lot of us to have a little bit at ease. So all these things kind of really affected me to the point where, you know, it affects me going to public places. It affects me dealing with loud situations, loud people. You know, it's made you, it makes you a very antisocial person because, you know, when you come back from that type of situation, you know, there's situations that you can't control. You know, I mean, the great thing about when you're overseas is you can control a lot of these things. You can't control civilians and you can't control people in general. So it's very difficult for a lot of us to socialize and, you know, be socially accepted, or for us to accept other people. Um, so going back to survivor's guilt, guys. Survivor's guilt has really affected me to the point that it's affected my relationships. It's affected, you know, my ability to, you know, do my daily task. You know, it makes you very depressed, and it makes you, you know, always ask yourself that same questions like why me and not them, you know, or vice versa. And it comes bite you in the ass. What I would tell a lot of the guys out there, that if you're going through that kind of situation, this is a very tough situation. This is one of the things that leads to suicide. So if you feel like you're going through that kind of situation that I'm describing, please get medical help. Please get you know, contact the VA, contact the crisis line that will get you somebody out there. If you need resident you know, counseling. So, you know, in reality, guys, just you guys, I'm trying to kind of make these videos so that everybody can understand what we go through on an everyday basis, the struggles that we go through. You know, many times you'll see a smile on our face, or you'll see us like we're happy, but we're dead inside, and it's really hard for me to kind of explain that to you guys unless you feel like I feel. Uh, you know, we have a tendency of being very outgoing sometimes and just trying to live life to the fullest. Um, but I think also one aspect that we need to start learning is that if we feel bad and we feel that we need to get away from people, if we need to mourn, if we need to do anything to improve our mental aspect and improve our well-being, you need to do that. Nobody's going to do that for you unless you pick up the phone, unless you ask for help. And I know that's the hardest thing for most veterans, is that, you know, some of us are very stubborn in that aspect. You know, we have a tendency of not asking for help, and we feel that nobody's really going to understand us. Of course, a lot of people are not going to understand you, but at least they can point you to the right direction. So I think that's one aspect that we need to improve, that we need to get back into. And I really urge a lot of my fellow veterans out there that if you're feeling like you really need the help, man, ask for it. You know, contact a fellow veteran. Uh, and try to talk to them as much as you can. Create your own support system in order for you to, you know, get through tough months. Other aspects that I have a tendency of doing that kind of get me off my, what I would consider my funk, is I look at pictures of my family, my friends, my loved ones, you know, and you know, it kind of puts everything to perspective. puts into perspective what we're doing, what are some of the things that we're going through, and it makes you appreciate what you currently have, you know. So if you're a fellow veteran and you're watching this, please get some help if you haven't done so. If you need to talk to somebody like myself, I'm always available. Of course, I'm not going to give you guys my number on this video, but if you are kind enough to leave me a comment, usually can provide you with my email, and then from then on we can correspond and talk to the phone. You guys need to understand that I make these videos not only to help myself, but to help fellow veterans, their families, and making sure that we try to retain a lot of our people from committing suicide. Committing suicide is the worst thing that we can all do, but in reality, man, I would be lying to you guys if it's not something that passes through my mind all the time, if it's not something that I have to deal with on an everyday basis, you know. So just wanted to give you guys my perspective on this stuff, guys. I will be putting more pictures towards the end of this video so you guys can see a little bit of how life was living in a fob. It was pretty crazy. You know, we got shot at quite a bit. But I'm going to tell you something. It was probably the worst times of my life, but it was probably one of the best times of my life. And it's kind of weird for me to say that and for a lot of you guys to kind of comprehend it. But, you know, many of us who joined the military, we joined the military to do the job that we were going to do, right? So for me, joining the Army is like, hey, man, I wanted to go to war. I wanted to experience combat. I wanted to do all the things that, you know, so many of our predecessors have done, you know. So I was thankful that I had a chance to do that. But of course, war comes with a big price. And that is, you know, not only the people you lose, but the ones that are surviving and are struggling. So please get some help. And I hope this video helped anybody out there. I really do appreciate your time. And like always, God bless you. God bless the United States of America. And I'm out.